My dear friends, let me begin by sharing a simple thought. The world often sets limits for us, but the greatest limits are not the ones around us. They are the ones we accept within ourselves. A woman who decides she is unstoppable is not defined by those limits. She is defined by her courage to break them. Think about history. Many women were told, "This is not your place. This is not your role." Yet some of them looked at those walls and thought, why not? They didn't just see barriers. They saw opportunities to rise above them. Whether it was in education, leadership, science, or even in the quiet strength of raising families with dignity. Women have time and again proven that resilience is their natural strength. An unstoppable woman does not wait for permission to shine. She knows her worth even when the world undervalues her. She knows that her voice matters even when society tries to silence it. She knows that her dreams are valid, not because others agree with them, but because they come from the deepest truth of her being. But let me remind you, breaking barriers does not always mean standing on a stage or leading a movement. Sometimes, the greatest barrier is self-doubt. Sometimes it's the fear of failure. Sometimes it's the heavy chain of comparison. When a woman breaks free from those inner prisons, she becomes unstoppable. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because she changed from within. And here is the beauty of it. When one woman breaks a barrier, she leaves a door open for countless others to walk through. That is the ripple effect of courage. It never ends with one person. It becomes a gift to generations. So, my friends, let us celebrate the unstoppable woman, not only the one in the spotlight, but also the one who quietly breaks barriers in her everyday life. The one who stands up after falling, the one who keeps her dignity in storms, the one who chooses faith over fear, and the one who, no matter what, keeps moving forward. Because unstoppable women don't just break barriers, they inspire the world to believe that barriers were never meant to last forever. The greatest barriers in life are rarely the walls society builds around us. They are the invisible walls we quietly construct within ourselves. Fear, doubt, insecurity, and the silent whisper of, "I can't," hold more power over us than any external obstacle ever could. The truth is, no matter how many restrictions are placed on the outside, a woman with unshakable belief in herself can find her way forward. But if within her heart, she has accepted that she is powerless, even the smallest challenge will feel like a mountain. That is why the first battle an unstoppable woman fights is not against the world, but against the voice inside that says she is not enough. Let us reflect for a moment. How many times in life have we stopped ourselves before even trying? Opportunities pass us by not because someone else denied them, but because our own self-doubt convinced us we were unworthy of them. This is the tragedy of internal barriers. They disguise themselves as truth. A woman may say, "I am not capable," or "What if I fail?" or "Others are better than me." And these thoughts sound so convincing that she believes them. Yet, they are nothing but illusions created by fear. The greatest prisons have no locks or chains. They exist only in the mind. Take, for example, a young girl who dreams of becoming a leader. The world may tell her she is too soft, too fragile, or that leadership is not meant for her. If she believes those voices, her dream dies, not because the world stopped her, but because she agreed with them. On the other hand, if she looks inward and says, "Why not me? Why should I not lead?" she will find the courage to step forward. The barrier of doubt begins to crumble the moment she challenges it with belief. This is why unstoppable women are not those who have never faced fear, but those who have learned to rise above it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Each time a woman chooses action over hesitation, she breaks an invisible chain. Each time she refuses to let insecurity define her, she writes a new story of freedom. She becomes a living proof that the mind, when disciplined, is far stronger than any obstacle the world can create. We must also understand that inner barriers often come disguised as comfort. It feels safe to stay where we are, to not take risks, to not invite criticism. But safety is not growth. A bird is never meant to stay in the nest forever. Its wings were created for the sky. Similarly, a woman's potential is not meant to stay hidden behind the curtain of fear. She was born to rise, to explore, and to express the fullness of who she is. In the breaking the inner barrier of comfort is the first flight into the life she was destined to live. When an unstoppable woman learns to master her inner world, she realizes that no external wall can truly confine her. The world may present difficulties, but she will not bow to them, for she has already won the greatest victory, the victory over herself. This mastery of the mind is what allows her to walk with dignity, to face challenges with grace, and to keep moving forward when others would give up. Once the inner barriers fall, the outer ones become mere steps on her journey to greatness. An unstoppable woman does not wait for society's approval before she begins her journey. She understands that expectations will always be placed upon her, some subtle, some harsh, and some deeply rooted in traditions that have existed for centuries. From the moment she is born, the world tries to define her role, her place, even her dreams. She is told how she should behave, what she should pursue, and at times, even what she should not dare to attempt. Yet, despite these restrictions, she chooses courage over compliance. She dares to question, to push forward, and to create a path where none existed before. Society often measures women with double standards. If she speaks gently, she is told she is too soft. If she speaks firmly, she is told she is too harsh. If she sacrifices, she is praised. If she prioritizes her own growth, she is judged. It is as if the rules are designed to keep her in a constant state of self-doubt. But an unstoppable woman learns that she cannot live her life according to the shifting opinions of others. She recognizes that if she allows herself to be imprisoned by society's definitions, She will forever remain a shadow of her true self. Instead, she listens to her inner calling, her inner truth, and she finds strength in walking the road that others hesitate to take. Think of those women in history who challenged what the world told them they could not do. Scientists, leaders, artists, and educators. Many of them faced ridicule before they were celebrated. When they stepped out, they were not applauded, they were questioned. But had they chosen silence had they chosen conformity, the world would have been deprived of their brilliance. It was their refusal to bend before society's expectations that carved new opportunities not only for themselves, but for countless others after them. This is what makes an unstoppable woman so remarkable. She does not fight for herself alone. Every barrier she breaks sends a message to another woman somewhere in the world. You can do it too. Her defiance becomes an invitation for others to rise. Her courage becomes a seed planted in the soil of someone else's heart. In that way, her fight against society's limiting expectations becomes much bigger than her own journey. It becomes a movement of hope and empowerment. Of course, walking against the tide is never easy. She will face criticism, rejection, even isolation. But she learns to stand firm because she understands that true growth always comes with resistance. Just as a kite rises against the wind, not with it, her strength is revealed when she pushes through the opposition. The more society tries to box her in, the more she expands her wings to prove that she was never meant to fit inside narrow definitions. She also learns a profound truth, that respect is not demanded by words, but earned by action. When she remains true to her vision, when she keeps working tirelessly despite resistance, the same voices that once doubted her begin to admire her. In time, even those who once criticized her are inspired by her strength. But by then, she has grown beyond the need for their approval. She does not rise to be celebrated. She rises because it is her calling. When a woman refuses to be caged by society's expectations, she becomes unstoppable. Not because the world has suddenly changed, but because she has changed her relationship with it. She no longer asks, "What will they say if I do this?" but instead declares, "What will happen to me if I don't try?" That shift in mindset gives her the power to walk into uncharted territory with grace and determination. Resilience is one of the most powerful qualities an unstoppable woman carries within her. Life, after all, is not a smooth road. It is filled with twists, turns, and unexpected storms that can easily break the spirit of those who are not prepared. Yet, what defines an unstoppable woman is not that she avoids difficulties, but that she faces them head on and transforms every setback into a stepping stone. She understands that failure is not the end of her journey, but simply a pause that prepares her for a greater rise. When challenges strike, many people tend to ask, "Why me?" But an unstoppable woman reframes that question into, "What is this teaching me?" This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of allowing pain to paralyze her, She allows it to strengthen her. Every disappointment, every rejection, every closed door becomes a silent teacher, shaping her into someone stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next opportunity. She refuses to see difficulties as permanent roadblocks. She sees them as temporary hurdles that will pass if she continues to move forward. Think about how resilience works in nature. A seed buried in the soil could easily be crushed by the weight of the earth above it. But instead, it pushes through the darkness, slowly, persistently, until it finds the light. In the same way, an unstoppable woman does not let the weight of her struggles bury her potential. She keeps pushing, even when progress is slow, because she knows that light always exists beyond the darkness. Consider also the stories of women who have faced devastating setbacks, loss of loved ones, financial struggles, broken relationships, or professional failures. Some of them could have given up, allowing bitterness or despair to define their lives, but instead they chose resilience. They chose to rebuild when everything was broken. They chose to smile when life gave them reasons to cry. They chose to keep walking when every step felt heavy. These women prove that resilience is not about avoiding suffering. It is about finding the strength to rise again and again, no matter how many times life knocks them down. Resilience also means refusing to be defined by the opinions of others. A woman may face criticism for her choices, for her dreams, or even for her failures. But an unstoppable woman knows that one mistake does not define her destiny. One rejection does not erase her worth. She learns to separate her identity from her experiences, knowing that who she is will always be greater than what she has gone through. Her resilience allows her to carry the scars of her journey not as symbols of defeat, but as marks of survival and strength. Another important aspect of resilience is patience. The world often teaches us to seek quick results, but real growth takes time. An unstoppable woman understands this truth. She does not give up just because success does not arrive overnight. She keeps sowing seeds, watering them with effort, and trusting that in due season they will bloom. Resilience gives her the ability to wait with hope instead of giving in to despair. And perhaps the most beautiful part of resilience is that it inspires others. When people see a woman rise after a fall, they begin to believe they can rise too. Her strength becomes contagious. Her determination becomes a silent encouragement for those who feel defeated in their own lives. Without even realizing it, she becomes a source of hope for those around her, proving that resilience is not only a personal strength, but also a gift to the world. At the heart of an unstoppable woman's journey lies her sense of self-worth. It is the foundation on which she builds her life, her confidence, and her choices. Without it, even the most talented woman may hesitate to pursue her dreams, constantly doubting whether she deserves success, respect, or happiness. But with self-worth deeply rooted in her heart, no storm can uproot her, and no rejection can diminish her. She walks with quiet assurance, not because the world tells her she is valuable, but because she knows her value from within. The challenge many women face is that society often conditions them to seek validation from outside through appearance, achievements, or approval from others. From a young age, they may be told how they should look, how they should behave, or what makes them acceptable. This constant measuring against external standards creates a cycle of self-doubt, where a woman begins to feel she is never enough. But an unstoppable woman breaks free from this cycle. She refuses to allow her worth to be placed in the fragile hands of external validation. Instead, she anchors it in something unshakable, the truth of who she is. Consider for a moment how fragile life becomes when self-worth depends on others. If people praise, confidence rises. If people criticize, confidence collapses. It becomes like a seesaw, always dependent on external forces. But a woman with self-worth is steady. She does not rise and fall with the changing opinions of others. Her identity is not tied to applause or criticism. She knows that her worth does not fluctuate based on circumstances. It is constant, unchanging, and deeply intrinsic. This inner assurance allows her to pursue her goals boldly. She does not wait for permission to dream. She does not wait for someone to declare her capable. She steps forward because she knows she belongs in the spaces she enters. Self-worth gives her the courage to sit at tables where women were once not welcome, to speak in rooms where her voice was once silenced, and to shine in areas where others said she did not belong. Her confidence is not arrogance, it is authenticity. She is not pretending to be more. She is simply refusing to be less. It is important to understand that self-worth is not about perfection. An unstoppable woman embraces her flaws and mistakes as part of her humanity. She does not waste her life comparing herself to others because she knows comparison is the thief of joy. Instead, she values her own unique journey, her own story, and her own growth. Where others see imperfection, she sees individuality. Where others see limitation, she sees possibility. This mindset frees her from the heavy chains of comparison and allows her to walk lightly and gracefully on her chosen path. Self-worth also teaches her the power of boundaries. Because she values herself, she does not allow others to misuse her kindness or take advantage of her strength. She knows when to say yes and when to say no. She gives with love, but not at the cost of her dignity. She serves others, but not at the expense of her own self-respect. Her worth teaches her that true generosity flows not from self-sacrifice alone, but from a balanced heart that honors both others and herself. Ultimately, this unshakable sense of worth is what makes her unstoppable. Even if she fails, she does not question her value. Even if others doubt her, she does not doubt herself. She continues to rise, not to prove anything to the world, but to honor the truth she already knows. She is worthy, she is capable, and she is enough. Breaking barriers is not always about making headlines or being celebrated in the spotlight. Many of the most powerful battles are fought silently, within the walls of everyday life and often go unnoticed by the world. An unstoppable woman knows that her strength does not always need an audience. Sometimes the greatest victories are the ones no one else sees, the quiet choices, the personal struggles overcome, the moments when she rises in her own heart. These small, unseen triumphs often shape her character far more than any public achievement ever could. Think of the woman who wakes up every day with responsibilities that weigh heavily on her shoulders. She may not be leading a company or a nation, but she is leading her family with resilience and love. When she chooses patience over anger, forgiveness over resentment, or hope over despair, she is breaking barriers within herself. These choices may not trend on social media, but they have a lasting impact on her life and the lives of those around her. The world may never applaud her sacrifices, yet her strength quietly transforms generations. There are also women who break barriers by daring to step outside of traditional molds, not in loud rebellion but in graceful defiance. A woman choosing to pursue education when her circumstances discourage it, a mother restarting her career after years of sacrifice, or a daughter standing firm in her values despite pressure to conform. All of these are victories of the spirit. They may look small to outsiders, but to the woman herself, they are life-changing breakthroughs. Her courage in those moments proves that greatness is not measured only by scale, but by authenticity. An unstoppable woman also recognizes that her quiet victories are deeply personal. Sometimes the barrier is not society, but her own inner critic. She might struggle with insecurity, telling herself she is not smart enough, strong enough, or capable enough. Each time she challenges that voice and takes a step forward despite her fear, she is breaking a barrier. It may be as simple as speaking up in a meeting, starting a new project, or saying no when she is expected to say yes. These are not grand gestures to the outside world, but they are monumental to her growth. It is in these quiet moments that resilience, courage, and dignity are forged. A woman who learns to win her private battles finds herself prepared for the larger ones. Just as a seed grows silently under the soil before it blossoms into a tree, her unseen victories prepare her for the moments when the world will finally notice her strength. She does not need recognition to validate her journey. Her strength is self-sustained. Furthermore, these private battles remind us that breaking barriers is not always about proving something to others. It is about living authentically, being true to oneself, and refusing to shrink in the face of fear or limitation. Whether or not the world watches, her journey matters. Every step she takes in silence adds up, shaping her into someone unstoppable. And while she may not always be in the spotlight, she is building a legacy of strength, courage, and authenticity that will echo long after her steps are gone. Comparison is one of the heaviest barriers a woman can carry, and yet it is often invisible. It doesn't appear like a chain around the wrist or a wall standing in front of her, but it is just as powerful in holding her back. From a very young age, women are placed in environments where comparisons are constant, grades in school, beauty standards in society, career achievements, family responsibilities. Slowly, these comparisons seep into the heart and whisper, "She is better than you. You will never be enough." An unstoppable woman, however, learns that comparison is not a measure of worth, but a thief of joy. She chooses to embrace her own journey, knowing that her path was never meant to be identical to anyone else's. When a woman lives under the shadow of comparison, she can never truly celebrate her achievements. If she succeeds, she immediately questions whether her success is as good as someone else's. If she struggles, she sees only her shortcomings, forgetting the progress she has already made. This cycle drains her strength and blinds her to her own potential. But the moment she steps out of this trap, she finds freedom. She realizes that the only person she needs to compete with is herself, the woman she was yesterday. Growth, not competition, becomes her focus. Consider nature for a moment. The sun never compares itself to the moon, yet both shine in their own time. The rose never envies the lotus, yet both bloom in their own way. Each has its own beauty, its own season, its own purpose. In the same way, every woman carries a unique light. When she compares herself to others, she dims her own glow. But when she embraces her individuality, she radiates without fear. The unstoppable woman knows this truth and chooses authenticity over imitation. Comparison also creates distance between women. Instead of seeing one another as allies, they begin to see each other as competition. But an unstoppable woman rises above this. She does not view another woman's success as a threat. She sees it as proof of what is possible. She learns to celebrate others genuinely because she knows that their victories do not take away from her own. In fact, their success often paves the way for hers. When one woman rises, she opens the door for others to follow. Recognizing this allows her to replace envy with encouragement and insecurity with inspiration. Breaking free from comparison also means redefining success. The world may say success is money, power, or recognition, but for many women, true success is peace, purpose, and joy. An unstoppable woman is not trapped by the world's checklist of achievements. She creates her own definition of fulfillment. For one, it may mean raising a family with love. For another, it may mean building a business. For yet another, it may mean dedicating her life to service. Each path is valuable because it is authentic. By honoring her own version of success, she protects herself from the trap of measuring her worth against others. The power of refusing comparison is that it allows her to walk with lightness. She no longer wastes energy trying to be someone else. She no longer carries the burden of unrealistic expectations. Instead, she invests her strength in becoming the best version of herself. That freedom is what makes her unstoppable, for she is not running someone else's race. She is running her own. And when a woman runs her own race with courage and authenticity, Nothing can hold her back. Faith and determination are the twin forces that keep an unstoppable woman moving. Even when the path ahead is uncertain, life rarely gives clarity about every step of the journey. The road is often filled with questions. What if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? What if others don't support me? In such moments, doubt can easily paralyze the heart. But an unstoppable woman chooses to lean on faith, not blind optimism, but the deep trust that every effort has meaning, every setback has purpose, and every delay is shaping her for something greater. Faith becomes the anchor that holds her steady in storms. Determination, on the other hand, is the fuel that keeps her moving. Faith without action can become wishful thinking, but faith combined with determination turns into unstoppable momentum. A woman with determination does not wait for perfect conditions. She begins with what she has, where she is, and she keeps going step by step. She understands that progress is often slow, but persistence always builds strength. She knows that even small actions, repeated with consistency, create extraordinary results over time. Consider a mountain climber. At the bottom of the mountain, the peak looks impossible. The air is thinner at the top, the rocks are sharper, and the risks are greater. Yet, with each small step, the climber ascends. She does not focus on the entire mountain at once. She focuses on the step right in front of her. In the same way, an unstoppable woman approaches her challenges. She doesn't allow the size of her dream to intimidate her. She breaks it down into small, determined steps, trusting that her faith will keep her steady and her determination will keep her moving. There are moments when life tests this combination. A woman may pour her heart into something only to face repeated failures. In such times, many people give up, believing the struggle is a sign to quit. But an unstoppable woman interprets struggle differently. To her, failure is not the end but a teacher. Faith reminds her that delays are not denials, and determination pushes her to try again. Each setback becomes a lesson, each obstacle a chance to grow. She learns to ask not, "Why is this happening to me?" but, "What strength is this building within me?" What makes her truly unstoppable is that she does not let fear of the unknown control her. Faith allows her to walk into uncertainty with courage, and determination ensures she keeps walking even when the road is dark. She may not see the destination clearly, but she trusts the process. Her belief in her purpose is stronger than her fear of failure. This unshakable combination makes her rise when others stop, push forward when others turn back, and keep hope alive when others lose it. And as she continues, something beautiful happens. Her journey inspires those who watch her. People see her unwavering belief and relentless determination, and they begin to believe in themselves too. Her courage becomes a spark for others. Without even realizing it, she becomes a guidepost for those lost in doubt. A living example of what faith and determination can achieve together. When an unstoppable woman finds the courage to break barriers, her victory never belongs to her alone. Courage, by its very nature, creates ripples that extend far beyond the individual. Each time she steps into a space where women were once absent, she leaves the door a little wider for the next woman to walk through. Her determination becomes a message to others: if I can do it, you can too. This ripple effect is one of the most powerful legacies an unstoppable woman leaves behind, because it multiplies her impact across lives, generations, and communities. Think of the first woman in a family who dares to pursue higher education when no one before her has done so. Her achievement does not end with her diploma. Her younger sisters, nieces, and even daughters suddenly see new possibilities for themselves. A barrier once seen as immovable is now gone, and in its place stands an example of courage. Her choice lights a path for others, even if she never intended it. That is the quiet power of ripple effects. They influence without direct instruction, simply by showing what is possible. The ripple of courage is not always about monumental accomplishments. Sometimes it is in small, everyday acts of resilience. A mother choosing to raise her children with dignity despite hardship. A woman refusing to stay silent in the face of injustice. Or a professional standing tall in a male-dominated environment. These actions inspire others in ways that may never be spoken aloud. Someone watching quietly from the sidelines gathers strength from her example, even without realizing it. Her life becomes a source of encouragement for others who are struggling. This is why unstoppable women often carry a sense of responsibility with their strength. They know that every decision they make, every risk they take, is not only shaping their own lives, but also giving permission to others to dream bigger. When one woman succeeds, she breaks the myth that such success is impossible for others. When one woman rises, she carries others with her. This interconnectedness is what turns personal courage into collective empowerment. It is also important to note that the ripple effect works across generations. Many women today walk confidently in spaces their grandmothers could not even imagine entering. The rights to vote, to work, to study, and to lead, these are not gifts handed freely, but results of countless women before them who broke barriers with their courage. Each unstoppable woman of the past left a door open, and today's unstoppable women are doing the same for tomorrow. Every bold step ensures that the next generation does not start where she started, but far ahead. What makes this ripple effect even more profound is its ability to change culture. Society often shifts not through sudden revolutions, but through steady examples that accumulate over time. One courageous act, repeated by many, slowly transforms what is considered normal. A woman speaking up in meetings, once unusual, becomes expected. A woman leading a company, once questioned, becomes celebrated. This is how unstoppable women shape not just individual lives, but entire cultures, by breaking barriers until those barriers no longer exist. And perhaps the most beautiful part is that these women rarely seek recognition for their influence. They act out of authenticity, guided by their purpose. The ripples they create are often invisible to them, but deeply felt by others. In this way, an unstoppable woman becomes more than just a symbol of strength. She becomes a catalyst for a world where courage multiplies endlessly.